This is Ms. Grisenda, and this will be lesson 5.1, Identifying Similar Figures. Could you please start by writing down the title and the lesson number at the top of your page, and then write down the vocabulary term similar figures. Similar figures have the same shape, but not necessarily the same size. Their corresponding sides are proportional, and their corresponding angles are equal. So we have several vocabulary terms here. Similar figures, you can tell that's a vocabulary term because it has quotes around it. We also have two other vocabulary terms, corresponding sides and corresponding angles. So you will want to highlight all three of those in your glossary. Corresponding means matching. So the matching sides are proportional and the matching angles are equal to each other. Now that we have our vocabulary terms written down, let's look at example 1. Okay, so let's look at example 1. The trapezoids are similar. Name the corresponding angles and sides. So copy down those two trapezoids, trapezoid ABCD and trapezoid PQRS. Now let's look at trapezoid, the first trapezoid, ABCD, and we'll find an angle that we want to start with. I'd like to start with angle A. And I can see that angle A looks like it's in the same place that angle P is on the other trapezoid. You can see that this angled side AB and the angled side PS kind of match. So that means that angle A and angle P are matching angles. So corresponding angles, we can write angle A and angle P. Then I'm going to look next at angle B. I'm going to mark that with 2 lines so I can tell that's a different angle. And I can see that it corresponds or matches with angle Q. So I can write down that angle B and angle Q are corresponding angles. I'm going to continue around the trapezoid, and the next one is angle C. I'm going to mark that with 3 little arcs. 1, 2, 3. So I can see that angle C corresponds with angle R. And the last one I'm going to mark with 4 marks. That would be angle D. And its matching angle in the other trapezoid is angle S. I'm going to mark that the same way. Next, we'll look at the corresponding sides. So if I start with, let's see, side AB, I'm going to put 1 mark there and 1 mark over here on side PQ. Those 2 sides are matching. So we can say side AB and side PQ. I could have named them the other direction and called it side BA. If I did that, I would have to name the other one also in that same direction and call it side QP. So it's up to you which way you'd like to write it. Next, I'll look at this side over here on the right, side BC, and that corresponds to side QR. Continuing around the trapezoid, I'm going to look at this bottom. It's the base of the trapezoid right now, the way that they're turned anyway. I'm going to mark that with 3 hash marks and mark that one with 3 hash marks. Now we could call that side DC or side CD. It's up to you. I like to do them in alphabetical order, so I'm going to write side CD. And I need to name the other one the same way. Since I did C and then D, I would have to do R and then S. We'll call that side RS. The last side is this angled side. We mark that with 4 hash marks. And that one with 4 hash marks. And remember, we have a choice. We can call it AD or we can call it DA. Since I've been traveling clockwise around the shape, naming my letters A, B, B, C, C, D, I'm going to go ahead and call this one side DA. And if I name it starting with D and then A, I have to name the corresponding side, pardon me, in the same direction. So that would be side SP. Remember, I could have flipped any of those around, but I would have to flip their corresponding side around also. Okay, we finished with example 1. We have named the corresponding angles and the corresponding sides. So we're going to move now to example 2. Directions for example 2, they tell, change the color there, sorry about that, tell which rectangle is similar to rectangle A. So copy that down and copy down the 3 rectangles. Okay. Remember up in the definition, it told us that if they are similar figures, then corresponding sides will be proportional. So let's see if we can get these to fit into a proportion. If they're proportional to rectangle A, then they will be similar to rectangle A. So first we're going to look at rectangle A and B. Rectangle A has a side of 3 and a side of 6. Rectangle B has a side of 2 and a side of 6. So I'm going to write those in ratio form and see if the ratios are equivalent to each other. There's lots of different ways that we could write this proportion. I'm going to write a ratio of the short side to the long side in this case. And you could do it in different ways, but this is one of the correct ways to do it. So if I have a, let's see, for rectangle A, the short side is 3 and the long side is 6. And then for rectangle B, the short side is 2 and the long side is 6. So on the left side, I have rectangle A. On the right side, I have rectangle B. On the top, I have the 2 short sides, and on the bottom, I have the 2 long sides. I can tell that 3/6, if I simplify that, that would equal 1/2. And if I simplify 2/6, that would equal 1/3. So is 1/2 equal to 1/3? No, it's not. How can we tell that it's not equal? We could put an equal sign and then cross it out. So that now says that 3/6 is not equal to 2/6. And we could probably have told that before we even did any simplification, but that shows you what you would do if it wasn't a number that you recognized. So we know that 3/6 does not equal 2/6. We also could simplify them and say that 1/2 does not equal 1/3. Since their fractions are not equivalent, that means this is not a proportion. And if it's not proportional, then they are not similar. So we've just proven that rectangle A and rectangle B are not similar. Let's look at rectangle A and rectangle C. Again, I'm going to write my ratios in the same way. I'm going to write the short side to the long side. So rectangle A would be 3 to 6. Rectangle C would be 2 to 4. So let's double check. On the left side, we have our rectangle A measurement. On the right side, we have rectangle C. On the top, we have the 2 short sides. And on the bottom, we have the 2 long sides. I need to figure out if these are proportional, if they equal each other. If I simplify 3/6, that equals 1/2. You could divide them both by 3, or you probably could just look at 3/6 and know that that equals 1/2. And then with 2/4, it's the same thing. You know that 2/4 equals 1/2, or you could divide both of those numbers by 2. So now we have 1/2 and 1/2. Well, 1/2 does equal 1/2. Since the two ratios are equal, that means that those rectangles are proportional to each other, so they are similar. So we've just now proved that rectangle A is similar to rectangle C. Okay, at the bottom, let's talk about how we could summarize this lesson. We've learned about corresponding angles and sides, and we've learned that the corresponding sides are proportional to each other. So the answer to our essential question, or the summary of this lesson, would be similar figures have corresponding angles and sides, and their corresponding sides are proportional to each other. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson, and if you need to watch it again, go ahead and do that. I'll make sure you have all of your notes finished and bring this with you to class. Have a good day.